Hello, 6th grade band. This is your lesson for the week ending May 21st. This week we're talking about syncopation. We did a little bit of this in 5th grade and probably the beginning of 6th grade, but this is a little bit more challenging. It's 8th note followed by a quarter note. There's several exercises we can work on. I know some of you probably jump to the playing test and don't practice all these other things, but they will help you. So the first thing, if you have your book, you want to follow along, we're on page 45 or 44, and there's a little syncopated clapping exercise 6.15. So I'm going to clap that for you, and it does have a repeat. And so watch the counting underneath as I clap. All right, I didn't play the repeat, but syncopation is basically when the accent falls on a weak beat. So in this one, the accent is on the and of one in the second and third measures. So I'm going to clap it again with the repeat. 1 and 2 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 2. All right, there's a couple more challenging rhythms in the back on page 53. So if you flip that, and these correspond with Opus 6. So take a look at 6A on page 53. And this was similar to the one with that I just clapped, but it's a little bit more challenging. It's longer. So just look through it. Let's see. Let's work out the counting first. It's 1 and 2 and 1 and 1 and 1, 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 and 1, 2. It's really important when you do the second half of that you feel that eighth rest on beat 1. You can even make a sound in your throat. And 2 and 2 and. Or at least feel it if you're tapping your foot. Feel beat 1 as your foot goes down. 1 and 2. And then as your foot comes up, if you're a foot tapper, 1 and 2 and. All those accented notes in syncopation are on when your foot is up. The accents are on the and. So let's clap and count this one. 1 and 2 and 1 and 1 and 1, 2 and 2 and 2 and. All right, let me do it again. 1 and 2 and here we go. Oh, did I hear the mistake I made? I made a mistake in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 6th measure, ba, ba. I put an extra clap in there. All right, so these are just exercises to prepare you for the playing test, which we'll get to in a minute. But the other one I want you to clap and look at is 6C. 6C, all these things, if you practice them, will help you with the playing test this week. It's a little bit more challenging, a lot more challenging than last week's. But take a look at 6C. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Any syncopation in that first measure? No. If you said no, you were correct. Syncopation is in the second and fourth measures of this one. 1 and 2 and 4. 1 and 3, 4. 1 and 2. Oops. These are tricky. I made a mistake on that. That's okay though. That's why you practice. And I, to be honest with you, haven't practiced as much as I should have during this quarantine, but 6C again. 1 and 2 and 4. 1, 2 and 4. 1 and 3 and 4. That was right. Do it one more time for good measure. Ready? And 6C. I'm going a little bit slower because this is how I want you to practice. If you struggle with these, you need to practice them slower. So 6C again. 1 and 2 and 4. 1 and 3, 4. So if you struggle with syncopation, practice those several times. You can play them on your instrument just using your favorite note or a note that sounds good on your instrument. You can practice it that way as well. But do take some time to look at those. That will help you with the playing test. All right, flip back to page 45 and take a look at 6.17. This is the Quezon song. This is the official song of the Army. And I want you to look at it. I'm going to pause for a second when I ask this question. Find out which 2 measures have syncopation. Look at it and then figure out which 2 measures have syncopation. If you said 5 and 6, you were correct because this particular song has a pickup measure. It's a partial measure, so that doesn't really count as a full measure. So if you said 5 and 6, those are the measures that have syncopation. So the rhythm, 5 and 6, 1 and 1 and. Ti-ta, ti-ta, ti-ta. All right. I'm going to play this for you, but before I do, I wanted to just give you a little nugget of knowledge for today. In case you're one of those people with a curious mind and say, well, what's a caisson? A caisson is a two-wheeled vehicle, typically that was used in the army to carry ammunition. And if you look it up, if you look up the definition, there's also a second meaning. A caisson is also a structure that helps people that are doing repairs on bridges. It's a large watertight container that's open on the bottom. So when people are fixing bridges, this is the type of equipment that they use when they work on bridges. So there's your off-topic nugget of knowledge for today. All right, so let me play this one. It's not part of your test. You don't have to record this, but this just helps with the test that you will be working on in a moment. Alright, so there's the caisson song, official army song. Alright, now we get to the part that most of you like to skip to. I am guessing, well, maybe not most of you, but some of you probably do. You're playing test is 6.18 Little Liza Jane. This is an American folk song that was originally written and composed back in the 1800s, and it's sometimes children dance to it, but it's a melody that you can find that if you want to listen to it, look it up. There's probably a gazillion, I don't know, is that a word, of recordings on the internet. So what I want you to do when you start to work on this is work on it in small chunks, because it is harder than anything that we've played today up to this point. So I would work on it maybe the first 2 measures or the first 4 measures, work on those a few times. The second half is harder. If you take a look at it, if you're looking at it with me, it's in our favorite key of concert B flat, which is good. And it's only 8 measures long, but there's syncopation in every measure except measure 1. Syncopation in every measure. So this one's a little trickier, especially when you get to measure 5 and 7, because you have to do that 8th rest on beat 1. You have to feel it. You have to maybe audiate it in your throat to feel that and place the rest of those notes in the right place. So all these rhythms should be similar to what we've practiced so far today. So just the first 2 measures. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, 1 and 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, 1 and. All right. Sounds familiar, something that we've already worked on today. But if you struggle with that, play it slower. Oh, I forgot to slur that time. I'm still on the first 2 measures. So the rhythm is the same, and the measure 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, the notes aren't exactly the same. All right, so as I'm looking at this percussion, I'm going to give you the choice on this one if you want to play either bells or snare drum. But take it slow. If you're playing your bell part, take it slow. Those of you that have been percussion, have been turning your test, and you're doing a great job, but just be careful and make sure you check the key signature. Some of you just played familiar notes and didn't check the key signature last time, so make sure you check that. That goes for not just percussion, that's everybody. Make sure you check your key. All right, let's take a look at 5, 6, 7, and 8. So you have to feel that 8th rest. If you're tapping your foot, if you're subdividing your head, you're thinking 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and ba 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 ba. All right, so here's measure 5. 1 and 2 and or dark. I'm not sure if yours did as well. So there's your test. It may come easy for some of you. It may be challenging for some of you. Work on it in small chunks. Make sure you do a good job with the rhythm. This is our whole focus of the lesson this week is rhythm. We've focused on a lot of different things the last 3 lessons, but this one is, I'm really going to grade you tough on that rhythm, so make sure you practice it and don't just sight read it for your playing test. All right, a couple other things. When you do your test this week, I am going to ask you to say a code word to get full credit. For this test, you have to sometime in your video say the word accent. All right, so make sure you say the word accent. If you forget to say it in your video, you can private message it to me later if you forget to say accent. All right, so make sure you try to attend the Zoom meeting if you're available. It's going to be a lot of rain this week, so I'm not sure what it is yet. I haven't gotten Mr. Moran's schedule for the other bands yet, but I will schedule around his schedule. You don't have to play. It's just kind of much social time. This past week, there were about, I think, 11 or 12 students there, and I left it open. We talked for a little bit, and then I left my computer, left it on, and let them stay and talk. And when I came back to check on them, about an hour had passed, and there's still, I think, 3 or 4 students still there. So if you just want to see your friends, even though you can't be with them right now, if you just want to see each other and talk, I'll set up the meeting and let it go for about an hour if you want to just talk about whatever. So please take care of yourselves. I miss everybody. This has been hard. It's not just hard on students and parents, but hard on teachers too. This is not the way we want to teach band. So it's always really great to see you. Let's see what else. Oh, look for, if you're using a school-owned instrument, have your parents make sure they're watching out for an email or a remind message. There's going to be a time during that last week of school, which is only 3 days for you guys, that you will need to bring your instrument to school. And our goal is to get them fixed if they need it, get them repaired at the repair place in Findlay, and then we'll outfit all of them with cleaning swabs and cork grease and valve oil and slide oil, all that stuff that they need to have. And then if you're continuing in band and you still need the instrument, we will let you know when a time is that you can pick it up. So I guess that's it for now. I miss you all very much, and have a good week, and I'll see you when you send in your playing test. Bye, everybody.